legend, Egypt was the origin of development. The divine beings coincided among the humans and made the prospering area for them to share. The child of Ra, Osiris, administered over the land, while his sibling Set was consigned to the desert, to his indignation. The opportunity has arrived for Horus, the child of Osiris, to have his spot as lord. A human young fellow named Beck, Brenton Thwaites, takes a dress from a seller in the market to provide for his dearest Zaya, Courtney Eaton. They are getting ready to go to the crowning celebration occasion soon thereafter. Horus, Nikolai Coster-Waldau, is dropped from a wild occasion of drinking with the divine beings the earlier evening. His dearest lady is Hathor, Elodie Young, the goddess of adoration. The opportunity arrives for the crowning ceremony to happen. Beck and Zaya, alongside almost the entire city, are participating. Osiris, Brian Brown, and his significant other Isis, Rachel Blake, present their child and are ready to pass initiative to him, when Set, Gerard Stewart, shows up without a second to spare with a gift for Horus, a fight horn. Horus blows into it, bringing Set's military to the front. Turns out Set is organizing an overthrow against his sibling and nephew. He requests Osiris to fight him, however he rejects. Set cuts Osiris in the mid-region, passing on him to drain gold and bite the dust. Incensed, Horus changes into his winged god structure, while Set transforms into his canine-like structure. They fight before everybody, except Set acquires the advantage and is prepared to kill Horus until Hathor stoops before him so Horus might be saved. Set orders every one of the divine beings and humans to bow before him, and he pulls out both of Horus' infinitely knowledgeable eyes. A year passes, and Egypt is all subject to Set's authority. The people who don't follow him are either left dead or tossed into bondage, as Zaya. Beck oftentimes visits her in mystery while her awful expert Urshu, Rufus Sewell, keeps an eye on his business with Set, which is building landmarks in his honor. Zaya says that no one but Horus can save them, however he wants his eyes, which are kept in Set's vaults. Beck slips into one of the vaults and beats 3 extensions that are booby-caught. He arrives at the end, yet he sees only one of Horus' eyes. In any case, it is strong and splendid enough to avert scorpions from down beneath. Beck gets back to Urshu's home to safeguard Zaya. Urshu and his gatekeepers are now hanging tight for him. Beck takes out the eye to deliver a blinding white light, permitting him and Zaya to get away. Sadly, during the break, Zaya is struck by a bolt shot by Urshu. She tells Beck she'll constantly cherish him and that demise won't keep them separated. She bites the dust before Beck knows it. Beck shows up at Horus' home where the shamed god resides in filthiness. He asks Horus for help, however he denies until Beck draws out the eye. Both of them momentarily duel until Beck says he can get him his other eye assuming he resurrects Zaya. Horus guarantees, in spite of the fact of the matter being that it is unthinkable. Until further notice, Horus gathers Anubis, Gorandi Clut, to direct her toward life following death, yet Beck should safeguard her before she arrives at the last door. Set discovers that his vault was broken into. He goes to Horus' presently vacant home and finds Zaya's body lying under the floor. It is proceeding to know what. Set later sends his military toward the home of another god, Nephthys, Emma Stahl, who was Horus' better half. He savagely strikes her down and removes her wings. Horus carries Beck to the highest point of a pyramid to implore his granddad Ra, Geoffrey Scramble, for help. Ra answers his request and permits him to transform into his god structure so he might fly up with Beck to Ra's home close to the sun. Ra is continually battling Apep, the snake divine force of disarray that shows up as a massive dark cloud. Horus looks for his granddad's assistance to overcome Set. Horus is permitted to take extraordinary water from the Nile to hydrate the deserts and remove Set's power. Hathor, who has been kept as Set's slave, decides to defy him. She gets her wristband, which wards off underhanded spirits, and she takes it off, which dives her into the universe of the abhorrent spirits until she returns it on and is shipped someplace not even close to Set. Horus and Bek are in the desert and are sought after by Set's trackers, Astarte, Yaya Dang, and Atat, Monastery Lee, both riding huge fire-breathing snakes. The lowlifes pursue the legends. Horus traps Atat onto her snake as it rides past the brink of a bluff to their demise. Hathor shows up and orders Astarte's snake to set itself ablaze, offing itself and Astarte. The three proceed with their excursion. To get into the vault to recover the other eye, they should pass the question of the Sphinx. They go to the sanctuary of Thoth, Chadwick Boseman, the divine force of intelligence. Prior to entering, Hathor orders Bek to get her some water, but since his heart has a place with another, her abilities don't chip away at him. He informs her concerning Zaya. Hathor can contact Zaya from past universes to tell her that Bek is attempting to safeguard her. Albeit profoundly learned, Thoth is vain and has numerous duplicates of himself taking care of business for him. Bek plays on his self-image and inspires him to help them. He joins the three as they experience the Sphinx. The Sphinx presents the conundrum, and Thoth replies, however his initial two speculations are inaccurate. He chooses to think as a human rather than a divine being, and he finds the solution right. The legends track down the eye, and Bek is planning to pour the water to stop Set, until Set himself appears. He takes Thoth's cerebrum and lets Bek know that he understands what Horus guaranteed him, and that he can't bring Zaya back. Set takes the water and spills it out. Set goes to Ra's home and communicates his displeasure regarding his fate. He scrutinizes Ra for not permitting him to have youngsters. Ra says it was essential for a test that he presently can't seem to pass. Ra maintained that Set should assume control over his own obligations to battle Apep, however Set rather duels his dad and takes Ra's lance, spearing him. Set sends Ra past the brink, in this manner permitting Apep to break free and start tearing through Egypt. Hathor gives Bek her armband to bring to Zaya so she might bring something to the table prior to entering the great beyond. Hathor is then pulled away by the malicious spirits. Anubis takes Bek to Zaya to give her the special necklace, however Apep's appearance implies the door to existence in the wake of death is fixed. Bek gets back to the human world and reunites with Horus, notwithstanding feeling double-crossed by him. In the meantime, Set's protection is overhauled with Nephthys wings, Thoth's mind, Horus' eye, and Ra's lance. He calls Apep toward him. Horus transforms into his bird of prey structure and starts to battle Set. They fight across the highest point of the pyramid, while Bek is cornered by Urshu. After a short battle, Bek figures out how to drive Urshu past the brink to his demise. Bek figures out how to pry the eye off of Set, getting himself mortally injured all the while. Bek throws the eye to Horus, yet the god decides to safeguard Bek as he falls over the side of the pyramid. Horus carries Bek to somewhere safe and secure and afterward flies up to keep battling Set until he figures out how to debilitate his uncle. Horus takes Ra's lance and skewers Set, annihilating him for good. He flies back to recuperate Ra and return his lance, permitting him to hold Apep away indeed. A little town young lady gives Horus his eye back, and individuals of Egypt cheer for him liberating them. Horus then, at that point, goes to Bek, minutes before he kicks the bucket. He takes his body back to his home to lay close to Zaya. Ra shows up and expresses gratitude toward Horus, saying he owes him an obligation. Horus says he needs what can't be given. Ra understands what it means, and he utilizes his ability to resurrect Bek and Zaya. They stir and kiss. Horus is then appropriately made lord to lead over Egypt, while Thoth and Nephthys are additionally resurrected. Horus then takes Hathor's armband and chooses to go salvage her. He leaves Bek, presently Horus' counsel, to ensure Egypt is left good to go.